Thanks everyone for coming out to pitch day for 100K. I know, or I believe that it's always a great day to pitch, but today is it. Pitch day for 100K. 100K. Today we hear from Matt McGuire at SafeStamp, and congratulations. It's not easy getting onto this call. We screen 15 or 20 companies for every one that is approved to pitch. StartUpNV is Nevada's statewide nonprofit startup accelerator and incubator. We operate four programs for entrepreneurs and four more. That makes 8 total, 4 more for investment funds. Our nonprofit is supported by government grants and corporate sponsors in the short term. And over the long term, by our accelerator companies who pledge a small amount of their stock to us, and our investors who donate 5% of their profits, which is also called a carry or carried interest. We run Pitch Day for 100K every other Wednesday, where companies pitch for the Q&A, and there's lots of it that they get here, and entry into our accelerator program, which comes with an investment from FundNV, our pre-seed fund, added to by our investor syndicate for an average historically of $124,000. $50,000 of that comes from our fund, and the rest comes from our investor syndicate, and then all of that is matched by Nevada's SSBCI program. We've made 17 direct investments since 2021, the latest, just a couple of weeks ago on January 30th, 2023, and those investments have ranged from $50,000 to $1.6 million. Now for the legal disclaimer. The founders pitching here today are pitching for investment from our SEC-approved venture capital fund and our accredited investor syndicate. The pitches today are directed to our investors. We do invite the whole community to attend for educational purposes, kind of like watching Shark Tank. The educational component is critical to our economic development mission here in Nevada. So once again, the pitches today are not a general solicitation for investment. Now, for more information on our entrepreneur and accredited investor programs, please visit our website at startupnv.org. End of disclaimer. So our nonprofit work would not be possible without the financial help from those grants I talked about and our corporate sponsors. Among them are the City of Las Vegas, Clark County, the Nevada Governor's Office of Economic Development, or GOED, as we call them, the EDA, Eide Bailly, and KPMG. Thanks to our sponsors and our grant givers for their support. So I'm ready to begin.
My name is Matt McGuire, and I'm here to talk about SafeStamp, the game-changing deep tech anti-counterfeiting solution. Before I talk about that, let me tell you about myself. I was a special operations soldier deployed to Iraq. I got to wondering, how do these guys have all this money for bombs and bullets to shoot at me? It turns out these bad guy groups were big in the counterfeiting industry, making fake stuff, selling it to retailers around the world. It looked like the real thing, smelled like the real thing, was packaged as the real brand, but was completely fake. Didn't think too much of it. Later, left the Army, getting my MBA at the Wharton School. I noticed the Ford students are buying vitamins and medicine in Philadelphia and sending it home to their families. I asked them why, and they say their families don't trust what they get in the pharmacies in their home countries. So I decided to look into it, and it turns out this is a huge problem. Interpol says 1 million people die each year from fake drugs, and it costs pharma firms $200 billion. These aren't my numbers. These are Interpol's numbers. As of last year, according to Forbes, total counterfeiting, so all products, is costing multinational corporations for around $4 trillion. I mean, it's hard to measure its underground market, but these are just huge numbers. So I left MBA, I liquidated all my assets, I started SafeStamp, and Mike is here to tell us real quick. Mike, turn on your audio, introduce our product, our CTO.
Okay, thanks, Matt. So SafeStamp is a pattern indicator that is placed on product packaging. And we've developed a novel nanomaterial that has the unique property where the end user simply needs to touch the indicator and then watch it go through a clear, distinct color transition. And this color change verifies that the product they're purchasing is authentic, because SafeStamp is the only material that can exhibit this unique interaction. We're currently patented in the US, Europe, and China, and patent pending in 50 other countries. I would also like to add that the patent covers broad touch color change interaction, but does not give any details on the manufacturing of SafeStamps. And in addition to being technically sophisticated and very difficult to replicate, we believe that we also have a design innovation where we have an interaction that is very fun and a user interface that really grabs people. So in looking at our market, like Matt previously mentioned, our total addressable market, which is the global anti-counterfeit packaging market, is absolutely massive at a little under $120 billion. And our serviceable addressable market, which is more specifically the end user and overt anti-counterfeiting tech, is just over $34 billion. And our sum is $100 million, and that is from our 3-year projection based on our initial customer interactions, which includes LOIs from a large pharma firm, a vape company, and a large agreement with the government of Ghana, which Matt will touch on a little later. So currently the anti-counterfeiting landscape breaks down into 2 categories. The first is track and trace, which help businesses track their products throughout the supply chain. However, oftentimes retailers purchase from counterfeiters intentionally or unintentionally. So this kind of anti-counterfeiting does not help at all. The other category is end user technology, which SafeStamp falls under, because we need the end user to verify the product. However, all other forms of end user tech, which includes holograms, mobile apps, etc., have already been counterfeited because they utilize decades-old technology. So this slide shows SafeStamp compared against 4 major players in the anti-counterfeiting space. 3M and De La Rue are holograms for end user verification, but they've been found to be counterfeited. Avery Dennison and TrueTag are retail verification systems and require additional devices. So SafeStamp is the only solution that is technically sophisticated to avoid replication and has an overt and simple verification process for the end user.
All right. So our go-to-market, we're really focused on this bridge round because what that allows us to do is to finalize our manufacturing protocols and produce samples for customers who have requested them. As Mike said, I want to just clarify, we got things in writing from vape companies, robotics companies, and multiple companies and the government of Ghana. We're having conversation with multinational fashion and pharmaceuticals, but all of them want samples before we can finalize, and we need to be able to produce it before we can finalize. Once we do this, we will be able to build out our manufacturing facility, and that facility is being subsidized with forgivable loans, full property, full building, and full equipment, and it's actually located by a regional development group. Forgivable loans are basically grants, obviously, and it's a 2-hour direct flight from Vegas. So I'll get to we're excited to be a Nevada company, and we're working with actually CID to get our license in Nevada and find me a place there. And after that, we take our contracts, we can finally give them a certain date, and we start turning these conversations and LOIs into official orders and collecting cash. And we use factoring to fill these orders. And if you look at this whole go-to-market strategy, you'll notice you won't see a lot of dilution in your investment. All right, our business model is simple. Sell SafeStamp directly to companies experiencing counterfeiting to empower them to recapture that $4 trillion they're losing. And also, you can brand against substitutes, right? This might be fake. You know, these comparable products might be fake, but you know mine is real because it has a SafeStamp. Our channels. All right, I'm working with Sterling to get a direct, a real head of sales person. That said, and that person's going to do direct outreach and conferences. That said, all this customer interest, these customers banging on our door, has been word of mouth, right? They know that their solutions are feared. They know they're getting ripped off by these counterfeiters. They want us. They know what we offer. Our pricing strategy, tiered and variable. I don't mean to be opaque about this, but we have different types of customers with different types of price and product margins. We want to capture for our company as much of the value as we can that we're capturing back for them. So we do take a varied strategy. That said, our lowest price discussed was upwards of 150% COGS. All right, Mike mentioned our IP. I would just say, you know, it doesn't give a structured manual to counterfeiters, but it's super broad to keep out competitors, right? Our product prototype's complete. This happened like a month and a half ago. Mike has it with him. It's out of the lab. It's technically working. He's got it with him on the West Coast. I would mention our deal for this production being subsidized is in writing. And then I mentioned our various customers. I would just say, just for traction, Ghana. I met with the vice president of Ghana. He's extremely concerned about what's counterfeiting is due to his industry. He's pushing us onto all their companies and doing everything he can to work with us. And people like us, you know, by far the most clever and innovative solution I've seen. Executive Director of Brand Safety Security, Borger Ingelheim. All right, our team. Look, I'm a proven leader in military background. I left my MBA with a company I've taken it from scientific breakthrough to financing and customer traction. I would also just mention it as offhanded. TA for Zhao Minaraju, who wrote the book on pricing. It's called Smart Pricing, probably the preeminent pricing expert in the world. And it was impressive he chose me as a TA because the class was taught in Mumbai and I don't speak any of the Indian languages. Now, Mike, introduce yourself and Johnny.
Yeah, I first got connected with Matt also at the University of Pennsylvania while I was completing my master's in engineering. So I've had some research experience in academia, but I've also had some private sector experience in pharma consulting and venture capital. Dr. Jonathan Feltz is our head of R&D, and he is an associate professor at Texas A&M. He is the head of Advanced Nanomanufacturing Lab, and he has nearly 50 publications on nanotechnology and scalable nanomanufacturing. He's one of the premier scientists in the nanospace.
All right, we got Evan. He's a design genius, brilliant young man. He's really helping us because, we said design is important technology. Gordon Phillips, this guy also works for equity, healthcare, financing, and private equity and investment banking. And we have an amazing advisory board with people with, over 40 years experience. One guy had a multi-billion-dollar exit, 2 multi-billion-dollar exits, frankly. So we are primed to go. All right. So Matt at SafeStamp.com. For those of the internet, we're looking for no more than $750K. We're raising that on the safe at a 10 million val cap, 20% discount. And this is just the bridge round that I discussed in the go-to-market. And we've raised 2.1 million from angel syndicates and major VCs. All right, we've won a slew of awards. We went to the White House on President Obama's birthday. We wanted a word for design, and we told you that's very important for you as much as technology. We went to the Veterans Business Battle. That's where I encountered CID, who's helping us move to Nevada. But a great award would be working with you guys because we love what you've done with CID. I got a little extra time. I can't believe I made it through.
Thanks again to everybody who participated today. Just a few program notes as we wrap up. Investors, if you're curious about how to become an investor, we have 4 opportunities for experienced and beginning investors. Our pre-seed fund, FundNV, it invests in 20 pre-seed startups. Our seed fund, the 1864 fund, $10 million mutual fund of 30 to 40 seed startups, companies a little bit more mature. We have our annual conference fund. You heard me talk about it before, Anti-NV. It's a hands-on investing class. And it's a little bit of a social network too. We're getting a lot of people that are moving to Nevada that are hooking up with us on Anti-NV, not only to make the investment, but also to just meet the people in the hood, if you will, of Reno and Vegas, and get to know the new people in the group. And we also, out of all those groups, we created an investor syndicate that invests in all kinds of deals. So some super interesting things going on there. You can check out the investor page at StartUpNV.org, and you'll find more info there. And you can also register your interest there in whatever one of those things that there are, and we can talk in more detail about it. Thanks again to the founders who pitched today. We're going to see you back here in 2 weeks to hear from Atarac and Aero AI. Until then, take care of yourself. And if you can, someone else do. See ya.